Hi, I'm Mindy of Simply Stavish from StavishClan.com. Welcome to my knitting series. This is video 2, and today I'll be talking to you about patterns. So we have our yarn, we have our needles, but now we need to pick out a pattern of what we want to knit. Beginning knitting, people usually start knitting with scarves. When I first started knitting, I did not want to make a scarf. I thought, let's just go for it all and learn something totally new. So I decided I wanted to make an iPod case. There were many different stitches involved with it. I learned how to knit and purl and increase and decrease. So I learned many different techniques and I wasn't bored with just one. It just depends on what type of learner you are. If you want to just work on one stitch, then by all means learn how to knit a scarf. If you want to learn several different stitches so you can make a bigger, more, not elaborate, but just a different pattern, you know, pick out a hat or pick out a small project. One of my favorite intro to knitting books is called Stitch and Bitch for beginning knitters. I don't have my copy with me, but I will include the link in this blog post. It's just a great book to show you the stitches, and it has some wonderful patterns in it and just great information. Another great intro pattern book, more for patterns, is 101 Designers One Skein Wonders. It has mostly, actually all of the patterns in here are projects that just require one skein of yarn. And so that's great. It's a relatively inexpensive way to start knitting a project right from the get-go. And also what I love about this is that the projects are broken up into the different types of weighted yarn. So when you're learning, that's a good way to learn about the different weights and what works for what patterns. And it also has, I believe, the how hard it is, if it's for a beginning knitter, if it's for an intermediate knitter, or for more advanced. So that's good. You want to obviously pick out all of the beginning patterns so you're not too overwhelmed and frustrated. And sometimes patterns come just at the local yarn store on separate sheets of paper. You can also find patterns online through various blogs and sites. And the last thing that I really encourage you to have is just a small notebook and a pen with you, so you can jot down where you are, your stitch count, maybe notes, information, questions you might have, something that pops into your mind that you can kind of reference back on. So that's my patterns. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please feel free to leave a comment, or contact me through Twitter at Simply Stavish, or through Facebook at facebook.com/Simply Stavish. Yeah, Simply Stavish. And we will see you next time. I'll be talking about the various gadgets, notions you'll need for beginning knitting projects. All right, thanks.